Everyone on me! Attaboy! It's showtime!
I'm Arihead, and together with my brother EnigWa, we will be covering the new exciting comp that just came out in version 2.3, the Geo Supremacy comp, or how we like to call it, the Rock Band. Now I know what you're saying, you might be thinking, oh, that's kinda corny, isn't it? Well, I hope you'll just roll with it. Rock and roll with it. The Geo comp consists of 2 or more Geo characters, with Geo damage being the primary focus. Geo teams owe their effectiveness in part to Geo Resonance, one of the strongest resonances in the game. In truth, however, the Geo element is the least useful element in the game. Crystallized reactions don't improve your comp's damage, nor do they provide a substantial shield. The only thing noteworthy about Crystallized is that the shield can be used to activate protected by a shield conditions, as well as the fact that Crystallized can affect elemental gauges applied by other characters. Before 2.3, Geo teams such as Noelle, Albedo, Geo MC, Bennett, and Ningguang, Zhongli, Xiangling, Bennett were used. As of patch 2.3, everything changed for Geo teams because of the introduction of one character. And no, it isn't Itto. The most indispensable member of this comp is none other than our furry friend, Gorou. At C0, he is already a strong support for his fellow band members, and the buffs he gives to defense and Geo damage contribute a lot to the team's success. Gorou does get a lot better with Constellations, however. His Constellation 1 isn't necessary as his skill already has infinite uptime. Gorou's Constellation 2, however, is excellent as it extends the buff's duration while it is in effect. This works whenever Gorou gathers crystallized reactions around the field, and it can extend the buff for another 3 seconds. Gorou's C4 turns him into a very competent healer, and Gorou's C6 is where he truly shines. He gives his Geo teammates a 40% buff to their critical damage, which is an insane buff for any Geo-based team. Gorou is extremely important for the Rock Band. This doesn't mean there aren't alternatives to Gorou, however, especially for attack-based Geo damage dealers. But Gorou has a special place in this team for 2 good reasons. He replaces Bennett, who should honestly just be used in another team, and also unlocks the full potential of the defense-scaling Geo characters, Albedo, Itto, and Noelle. Albedo especially benefits from Gorou's support, as no other support buffs his damage the way Gorou does. I know what you're thinking, what about Geo, MC, Zhongli, and Ningguang? While Gorou certainly supports all Geo characters with a Geo damage bonus buff, his true potential is only unlocked when his defense buffs are fully utilized. The synergy he has with Albedo, who I like to call our drummer, is exactly what he needed to perform better. Albedo was already a good Geo sub-DPS and battery, but he's been buffed a lot recently. His beats do a lot more damage now thanks to Gorou, his new weapon, the Cinnabar Spindle, and the 4-piece Husk of Opulent Dreams artifact set. Alternatives to the 4-piece Husk set include 2-piece Archaic Petra 2-piece Husk and 4-piece Tenacity of the Millilith set, although the Tenacity set is generally not the best option as it lowers his damage output considerably. Not to mention other supports, like Zhongli or Mona, could easily use this set instead. If you don't have Albedo, then Geo Traveler is a decent option. Just remember that Gorou does not buff his damage the way he buffs Albedo's, and Geo Traveler also requires field time to generate particles in this team. Due to the aforementioned points, Albedo might be needed to unlock the full potential of Geo teams. That isn't to say you can't build teams without Albedo, but they would definitely suffer in terms of DPS and particle generation compared to teams that do have him. Also, we recommend giving Gorou the 4-piece Noblesse Oblige set as this further buffs the team's damage. For your main DPS, you want to choose between C6 Noelle or Itto, but this usually comes down to availability. A lot of people may not have a C6 Noelle, but it is much easier to use Noelle in our opinion. She doesn't need a shield for protection and Geo Resonance. This is especially helpful when using the Serpent Spine, as taking hits would be undesirable with this weapon. Itto, on the other hand, doesn't generate his own shield, so you need to consider using Zhongli or another shielder to help provide Geo Resonance buffs, as crystallized shields are unreliable. Noelle and Itto also both share the same artifacts. The 4-piece effect of the Husk of Opulent Dreams is their best in slot, but they can still use artifacts such as the 2-piece Petra 2-piece Husk, 4-piece Retracing Bolide, and the 4-piece Gladiator Finale set. C6 Noelle and Itto both deal a similar amount of DPS during the rotation, but it's worth noting that C6 Noelle also has excellent AoE, which generally makes her the more consistent option. As mentioned previously, both Noelle and Itto require a battery to perform at their best. All in all, you could say Noelle and Itto are quite interchangeable. Now that we've established the core members of this rock band, Gorou, Albedo, and C6 Noelle or Itto, let's talk about the last slot. Whether you should use a support or sub DPS in the last slot isn't evidently clear, but Zhongli remains a strong option in this team because of his shield, shred, tenacity of the Millilith buff, as well as the damage he provides from other constructs on the field. Geo MC is decent here since he can deal strong front load damage and can also buff the team by providing them with a 10% crit rate increase. Ningguang can provide damage bonus and an attack buff using the Thrilling Tales of Dragon Slayers, which characters like Itto and Noelle still appreciate despite their defense scaling, or she could be used as a quick swap sub DPS. Several non-Geo supports also do well in this team, with our favorite adventurer Bennett being one of the best supports in almost every team comp in the game, although he should probably be used in another team. Mona does well here due to her damage bonus and access to Thrilling Tales of Dragon Slayer. Non-Geo sub-DPS characters like Fischl, Xingqiu, Kea, and others are viable options as well. The benefit of using at least one different element in this rock band is to form crystallized reactions. However, this shouldn't be the priority when choosing an off element. Always know that it is essential to optimize team DPS, and if that means sticking to just Geo characters, then by all means do that. Before we move on, you should know that you can only have up to 3 Geo constructs at any time, so be very careful with rotations when you are running 4 Geo characters, and be really sure not to remove Albedo's constructs. And here's an example of Itto's team rotation.
Can't catch me. I will have order. Witness my great undertaking. This is order. Counter. Pull in. Press me. Come into being. Feel the sanctioned power. It's showtime. Bam.
The rock band is one of the most interesting comps in Genshin Impact. Instead of relying on reactions like most teams do, this team just focuses on doing big yellow numbers all across the screen. We wouldn't say this comp is among the strongest comps in the game, but it sure is flashy. We hope you guys found this guide helpful, and if you did, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe to our channel. Let us know in the comments what you think about the rock band, and do tell us how you built your team. Take care and have a rockin' day.
For real?